Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It's Friday. We made it to Friday. The Pittsburgh Steelers top brass, Mike Tomlin included, are expected to be at the Ole Miss Pro Day today, so we'll be on the lookout for that. Reported by Mike DeFabo of The Athletic that they have a pre-draft visit scheduled with quarterback Jackson Dart. That doesn't surprise me, although I don't really love the fit for Dart with kind of interesting, and that is whether the Steelers need to know about Aaron Rodgers in order to get ready for the draft. And I think that's an interesting thing to bring up because, look, the draft prep is, as Mike Tomlin likes to say, largely the hay is in the barn. They've got one more pro day. They've got another 15 to 20 pre-draft visits, and that's about it. Like, they're not doing a lot more draft prep. And now they did miss the Michigan Pro Day because Rodgers decided he wanted to take a visit to Pittsburgh, and they accommodated that. But there's not a whole lot else going on in terms of draft prep that dealing with Aaron Rodgers is going to cost the Steelers brass. Now, one of the things that might matter is the Steelers might want to know who their quarterback is before they decide like who they're going to draft. Now, I don't think they're going to draft somebody or not draft somebody because Aaron Rodgers is the Steelers quarterback. They're reportedly only offering him a one-year deal. This feels very much like a short-term solution. So, like, how much does that matter? I don't know. Like we've talked a lot, me and Smitty on Afternoon Drive, about the idea that the Steelers need, if they're going to have Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback, they need better separators. They need players that can play that Devontae Adams role, that Alan Lazard role. And they really don't have anybody. You know, they have two X's and two slots and Scotty Miller and Ben Skoranek, however you want to categorize those guys. And that's really it. And so I don't know. They need that no matter what. I think the addition of a player like Aaron Rodgers heightens that need, but I don't think that they think he's so important to their team that just because they have him, they need to draft a certain type of guy. They need that anyway. I'm sure they'll get it at some point, somehow, some way. But yeah, like I don't think it matters that much. I think where it really does matter is that we're hearing talk about the Steelers quarterback at 21, hearing talk about the Steelers meeting with Dart. They met with Milrow. They met with Ewers. They met with Howard, right? They've talked to most of the top, except for the top two, quarterbacks in this draft class. How serious are they about quarterback? I don't really get the sense that they're that serious. When we were in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, there was Milrow and there was Dart right there on the field, throwing passes all day, every day. I don't think Mike Tomlin even glanced in their general direction once. He was so focused on the defensive lineman. And the only defensive lineman who was a first-round pick in Mobile was Walter Nolan. The other two, Harmon and Grant, weren't even there. So I don't think they really want to take a quarterback early. But I think uncertainty about what's happening at the quarterback position and the chance that they could miss on Aaron Rodgers, which means they miss on basically everyone, has sort of forced them into taking the idea of drafting a quarterback highly a little bit more seriously. I still don't believe the Steelers are going to take a quarterback at 21, even if they miss on Aaron Rodgers. But I think they're, at that point, forced to consider it. And not knowing whether or not they're getting Aaron Rodgers by the draft, I think definitely moves quarterback up their board. If they don't have Aaron Rodgers, they probably have to draft a quarterback before the end of the third round. Have to. You cannot go into the season with Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson as your quarterbacks. And even if you sign Joe Flacco or whoever else is out there, that's you're not giving yourself any upside. I think that's a hard sell. I think it's a hard sell to the defense. I think it's a hard sell to the guys on the team. Frankly, I think it's a hard sell to the fan base. You know what you're getting from Mason Rudolph at this point, and it's clearly not good enough. Rodgers probably isn't good enough either, but at least there's a chance. So if they don't know whether they're getting Aaron Rodgers or not, or if they know they're not getting Aaron Rodgers, by the draft, I think quarterback has to move up their board. I think in an ideal world, they would like to, especially with only day one and day two picks. I think they'd really love to go D tackle DB or D tackle running back or D tackle wide receiver. And even in that fourth round, I think the other of those positions they would probably rather be taking than quarterback. I think the Steelers would love 1-3-4 to be DT, DB, running back. That feels pretty ideal. Quarterback's not in the ideal part of the arrangement. When Omar Khan and Andy Waddle drew up the plan for this draft class, which, by the way, the planning for the draft starts in July. When they drew up the plan for this draft class, I don't think it had quarterback round 1, round 3 in it. But it could because of the lack of better options, because of their uncertainty with Aaron Rodgers, and their commitment to putting the best possible team on the field. You know, they're not going to accept being bad. They're not just going to say, okay, it's Rudolph, here comes a 6-win season. They're not just going to take it. They're going to try to improve their team. Even if that means taking what might not be the best player available because it is the biggest need on their team. It's hard to argue that any position other than quarterback is the biggest need on their team right now. In fact, I'm certain it's the biggest need on their team right now. Does Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe solve that need to any significant extent? I don't really think so. Dart, to me, certainly. Actually, Dart, to me, sets them back, not helps. Milroe will probably just not work out, but be okay. Either way, I think they should be looking at quarterback in 26, no matter what. So do you really want to use 2 straight first-round picks? No, absolutely not. But again, I think they are forced by Aaron Rodgers' lack of a decision and the lack of better options to at least be seriously investigating these options, and that's what they're doing. So that's why you're getting Jalen Milroe in the first round talk. That's why you're getting Jackson Dart in the first round talk. That's why they're talking to all these players and spending a lot of time on them. And so we'll see what happens. I'm still pretty skeptical of a quarterback in the first round, but I'm also assuming that Rodgers is going to come to a lot of logical conclusion that the Steelers are by far the best option for him and decide to take it and be the quarterback. But we'll see how that goes. That's all I got for this morning. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Just me and Smitty on Afternoon Drive today. DB is unavailable, so we'll have that right about 6. And until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, enjoy.